So it's April 21st, 2025, and I wake up bright and early to see Kashimo has hit the f***ing Pentagon. He's officially top 3, Sukuna's biggest threat. The argument that I had thought long been dead has been revived. I'm seeing tweets left and right about how they knew Kashimo was the strongest after Sukuna and Gojo, and how Yuta's a victim, and blah, blah, blah. And 3 days later, it was rediscovered that Kashimo had not hit the Pentagon, but fake translations. He isn't the biggest threat. In fact, he's still a farmer. In today's video, I never thought I'd actually have to make in the big 2025, Yuta vs. Kashimo. Spoilers for Jujutsu Kaisen ahead. Firstly, I'd like to briefly go over the battles with Sukuna, but more specifically, the versions of Sukuna. Kashimo starts off with his Sukuna with slowed RCT, no domain, and missing limbs, causing him to immediately reincarnate into his new body. With still slowed RCT and no domain, he went on to waffle Kashimo to oblivion after a very brief scuffle. Then later, Yuta goes on to fight a Sukuna that has taken one Yuji punch. And then that same Sukuna Yuta was about to fight had a domain that was very close to being recovered, and then recovered RCT output. And then this same Yuta went on to make this Sukuna bleed with the very first attack from his domain. But now that we've covered that, let's cover the kids, starting with the strongest and great farmer, Kashimo. Immediately starting off this, let's talk about his curse technique trait, the infamous electricity. It sort of allows him to do bonus damage in short, but if Hikari was pretty much able to negate it, then Yuta, with one of the largest curse energy pools in the series, is sure to make it completely obsolete. Aside from that, he as well has Hollow Wicker Basket to counter domains. But if he does that in Yuta's domain, it would render his arms and limbs completely useless, so yeah. After that, he has his charges of lightning that act as a sure hit after landing blows to his opponents like charges, which is incredibly fatal until you consider the fact that Hikari has demonstrably less CE than Yuta and no clear AP, as it was only used on Panda, strongest form, and Hikari, so its damage is like unclear. And we've seen its counter, RCT, completely from the Hikari fight, and since the actual damage of it is unclear, who's to say Yuta can just catch it in his hand like Ryu's Granite Blast and then immediately RCT it. But aside from that, he has his curse technique, Mythic Beast Amber, allowing him to completely utilize every natural phenomenon of lightning, using blasts and seemingly his lightning charges with less cooldowns, but it kills him after its use? Hey yo, why are we even considering this a conversation? Jokes aside, this amps his stats as well, allowing him to tag Sukuna on 1 HP and do no damage. Oh, okay, this just isn't a conversation in 2025, guys. Yuta is considered the modern era's prodigy and second after Gojo for the entire story for a reason. And his kit just hard counters Kashimo in pretty much all the relevant ways. Like, for example, to fight against Yuta, you're always going to be fighting a 2v1, unless you have some type of support. And against an opponent who's react to the same guy you couldn't, it's not going to be in favor of Kashimo whatsoever. Yuta as well has Rika in his domain, that we went over in the Yuta vs. Upper Moon videos, link in the description. Giving him any of his copied abilities, with those being the following. Let me just copy and paste the other script here, and there it is. Curse speech, allowing him to use curse energy to give his words commands, with harsher words having an impact back to the user. Sky manipulation, allowing him to physically touch the air and allow him to crack it as well to harm his opponents or deflect melee and or ranged attacks with a straight path. Future sight, giving him about 1 to 2 seconds of future sight if he feels the ink with his opponent's blood. Drew Shikigami, put an inviolable barrier over his Shikigami's path, aka Rika. Jacob's Ladder, a technique expelling curse techniques and curse spirits. Finally, Yuji's Cleave and Dismantle, which are very similar slashing attacks to Sukuna, and with some of the best RCT in the series, and other being like cursed techniques. Not only to skim over the most lethal type of attack to the type of sorcerer Kashimo is, which is a reincarnate sorcerer, this ability comes from Angel, and it's specifically designed for reincarnates, which is Jacob's Ladder, as this ability was supposed to be the end-all, be-all for Sukuna, who has a stronger bond than all of the other reincarnates. So that being mentioned, Kashimo being similar to Choso and not really being able to feel the existence of another soul in his body in the first place gives little hope of resistance, like in Sukuna's case. So all of this being said, yes, Yuta absolutely dogwalks Kashimo. He has no RCT, no domain, and a curse technique that kills him at its completion. So at the very best, it's a draw con, but 9 times out of 10, Yuta absolutely slams. It's actually hilarious looking back at the pipeline for this fraud. Bro was introduced fiending for Sukuna in chapter 158.
Oh, hell no, man. What the?
And then went to finally face him, was one shot in borderline 7s, dude. He was called the strongest farmer to Femboy, and then April happened. And now bro isn't even ready for the top 10 conversations. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Like I said, I never thought I'd have to seriously make this video because Kashimo is just not that guy. But jokes aside, subscribe, like, and comment for more. And check out my links in the description for my other videos and any links I think you might like. And until next time, Kashimo is a Yuta victim.